Well, hello there, artists. I'm so glad that you joined me today because we are talking about all things fabric. I know you just thought you put on a t-shirt today and that was it. But you are in for a big surprise because there is a whole world of different fabrics, and it's going to give you all of these options when you're ready to make your own clothes or your own crafts and you want it to be extra special. Now, right now, I want you to take your shirt or your pants, even a sock, and look at it really, really closely. I mean, get up right on it, as close as you can, and see if you can find all of the little threads that make up that garment. Do you see that some are straight up and down and others are going left and right? That is how a cloth is put together. It's called the weave. We weave cloth together. We take threads and kind of like this ruler here, some of the threads go up and down and some of them go across. And when we go over, under, and weave all of those threads together super tight, we get a wonderful cloth. Now take another minute and feel the fabric in your hands. Is it soft? Is it rough? Does it feel bumpy? Does it feel silky and satiny? That is all to do with what kind of thread was used. A lot of people don't know that you can have natural fibers and synthetic fibers. Now, a long time ago, before we had a lot of different kinds of machines, everything was a natural fiber. You either took the wool from a sheep, or you might use a plant like flax, or even the silk from a silkworm, but something that occurred naturally in the earth. And you could twist that into a very fine thread. Now we have really fine sewing thread, but it might be something as thick as a piece of yarn. And then you could weave that together on a flat loom and it would create your fabric. Now, if it comes from wool, from sheep's wool, that fluffy stuff on that cute little sheep that they need a haircut every year to keep them healthy, well, it makes some wonderful warm clothes for us. And this is a wool scarf. Now, of course, it's been dyed blues and yellows because there aren't any blue sheep in the wild. But you can still feel how soft and fluffy that wool is. And you might have a wool sweater or a wool coat, sometimes even wool socks if it's extra cold. And it's meant to keep you nice and warm. It's very much a wintry kind of fabric to have. Another kind of natural fiber or fabric would be silk. Now, silk is known for being very soft. Oh my goodness, it's almost like water in your hand. It's so soft and light. It's very breathable. The air goes right through it. So this is something you could wear in the summertime. You can also dye it different colors like this one and weave it into designs. And it's really in Asia that silk became popular first. So it's a wonderful and often expensive fabric because of how labor intensive it is to make silk. It takes a whole lot of thread to do even just a little scarf like this, but it feels like butter. We love it. The most common of your natural fibers is going to be cotton. You have a cotton t-shirt. You probably have cotton socks. You sleep on cotton sheets. And I'm pretty sure you have cotton underwear. Cotton grows naturally and can be twisted into that fine thread. This is a cotton thread. It's the same kind of thread that would make up any of your t-shirts and different clothes. Cotton is nice because it breathes. It lets the air pass through really nicely. It can absorb moisture for you. And it's a little bit stretchy. So we like cotton because it can be used for lots and lots of things, and it's not very expensive. Another natural fiber that you don't see a whole lot, at least in our part of the country, is linen. Linen is like cotton in that it breathes, and it comes from a plant called flax, and it does have quite a lot of stretch to it. So you can wear it a long time, and it's nice and cool. Even in the summer, you can wear a linen shirt and pants, and you feel cooler sometimes than if you were in jeans or shorts. And so linen has been around a really long time, really since Bible times, Egyptian times. Linen has been used for a very long time. And it's still very popular in Europe today because of the processing of it is much easier there. We see a lot more of it there than we do in the United States. One last natural fiber that we kind of don't think of as natural is rayon. Now, rayon is kind of a cheater fabric. It can be natural and it can be synthetic. There's two kinds of rayon. The natural rayon is very flexible. It's almost like that silk. It can move really easy. And you'll see a lot of like Indian saris that the ladies wear is often made out of the natural rayon. And it breathes nicely. It takes color beautifully, as you can see. It's really easy to dye and get all these different gorgeous colors. But there's also a synthetic rayon. It's also very good, cheaper to make. It doesn't drape quite as nice and look quite as natural, but it's very versatile for lots of things, especially things that you might be wearing a lot and kind of wear out after time. So you can have natural rayon and synthetic rayon. Now, once we got into inventing all kinds of things, back in the 40s, the 1940s, they invented polyester. Polyester is a chemically produced thread. It's very, very tiny. You have to have a machine to weave it, and it can make a really tight kind of fabric. It doesn't have a lot of stretch. So when you wear polyester, it has to be your size because it's not going to stretch very much for you. It also doesn't breathe like a natural fiber. So sometimes if you're feeling extra hot and sticky, you might be wearing a polyester shirt and it's just not breathing at all. But it does have kind of that silky quality, not as beautiful and soft as real silk, but it still drapes very nicely. And it's cheap to make, so you can do all kinds of things with it because it's easy to get. Now, when we're looking at these various kinds of fabric, it doesn't matter which fabric you have, whether it's a natural fiber or a synthetic fiber. Every fabric is going to have a right side and a wrong side. And you can probably tell that the wrong side is a lot more dull. The right side is the pretty side. That's where it's printed. That's the side that we want to see. So pay attention in your patterns when it says to put the wrong sides or the right sides together, that you're looking at that. Most of the time we sew with the right side together, which means we're looking at the wrong side, the dull side, because after we get done stitching it, when we turn it inside out, now the pretty side is going to show. So you want to get used to finding the right side and the wrong side. Another thing you might see kind of more enclosed than anything else is if it's cut on the bias or on the grain. What does that mean? Well, think back to how the cloth is woven. There's threads that go across and there's threads that go up and down. We call that on the grain. If you're cutting it with the way the thread goes, with the direction of the thread, that's on the grain. It's nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. But there's this weird thing when you weave things together, over, under, just like that, when you pull it diagonally, suddenly it stretches a whole lot more. And that's called the bias, B-I-A-S, bias. And the bias lets you stretch your fabric. Now, sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing. It depends on your pattern. If you're making clothes, a lot of times you want it on the bias so it will stretch a little bit when you're putting it on. But if you're making a quilt or a pot holder or a purse, you're probably going to want it on the grain. You want it to stay right where it's at and be nice and tight and stay in its little area that you've created for it. Of course, when it comes to fabric, you're going to have to buy it in a certain way. Fabric comes on a bolt. It'll be folded over and over this cardboard long tube, and you'll take it up there and they'll ask you, how much would you like to have cut? And you can have a whole yard cut. And how much is a yard? 36 inches. You could have a half yard cut. So what's half of 36 inches? 18 inches. Or you could have a fourth of a yard cut. What would a fourth of 36 inches be? Half of 36 is 18. Half of 18 is 9. So a fourth of a yard would just be a little bit of material, not a whole lot. And you might even get a fat quarter, which is a quarter yard of fabric, 18 inches, cut across the length, which is usually about 22 inches, 18 by 22, which gives you a nice fat square that you can make a lot of projects with. It also helps when you are looking at your pricing, how much your project is going to cost, because you don't want to buy a yard of fabric if you only need a fourth of a yard. If your fabric was $12 a yard, but you only needed a fourth of a yard, well, get a fourth cut, and then you're only spending $3. 12 divided by 4, that fourth of a yard is only going to be $3. And you can do a whole lot more projects without spending a lot of money. But can you imagine how some of the ladies who had the big dresses and the ball gowns in the 1800s, some of them had 16 yards of fabric in one dress? Oh my goodness. That is an expensive dress. So think about all of those things when it comes to choosing your fabric. Hopefully you enjoyed learning about all the different types of fabric, and the next time you're walking around, go ahead and get a little feel of the different fabrics in a sewing store or a craft store and see if you can identify, is that a natural fiber? Is it synthetic? Is it cotton or wool or linen or even silk? It's all up to you and what you want to make on your next project. And that's where I'll be seeing you soon. Bye-bye.